Hello there, I have something to show you. This is the first picture of the Hillman Avenger that my family bought brand new on June 1st, 1970. That was just a few months after it launched in the United Kingdom. Now, in this video, I'll reveal the car's mechanical specification, its trim level, what equipment it had, and various other things. For example, we have more pictures to look at and this sales brochure from 1970. We'll have to be careful though, this thing's very delicate and it's starting to fall apart. It's also got that musty old book smell. Oh, that's potent. Welcome to Car Spy TV. Right, let's see what the brochure said about the Hillman Avenger when it first launched. It said, gotta be careful here, meet the all-new Avenger from Hillman. It puts more car in your hand than any other in its category. With Avenger, renowned quality and finish has arrived to set the standard for the 1970s. The brochure then talked about this smooth, semi-fastback styling. It said the suspension is a new experience in comfort and handling and that the interior space is comparable to much bigger cars. In summary, it said Hillman Avenger is more car for less money and, of course, more value. This thing sounds fantastic. No wonder my family bought one. Theirs was a Hillman Avenger 1.5 Deluxe. Whereas that sounds fancy, Deluxe was the bottom of the range trim. This was reflected by the specification, which was far less than the more expensive models and, by today's standards, remarkably low. For example, the brochure said it had door trim right up to the windows. Fair enough. It also had a 2-speed blower motor, rubber floor covering, what else? Sun visors, windscreen washers and a coat hook, but that was about it. In fact, if you wanted reversing lights, you had to pay extra. They were specifically mentioned on the options list. The brochure also mentioned safety. The Avenger has safety features for safety's sake, it said. These included childproof catches in the rear and flush interior door handles. The latter made it harder to accidentally open the doors while the car was moving. Good, but look what the brochure said next. Seat belts and fittings extra. Yeah. The Hillman Avenger was also available with the Super trim. That, at the time of launch, was mid-specification. Extras included carpet on the floor, armrests on the doors, and standard reversing lights. How decadent. The Grand Luxe trim was top of the range and it added yet more features. For starters, it had superior headlamps. There were 4 circular headlamps at the front rather than 2 rectangular. This trim also had a circular speedometer rather than the horizontal one shown in this picture. The Grand Luxe also had 2-speed windscreen wipers, reclining front seats and more instruments. Seat belts and fittings extra. Now, the Hillman Avenger in my family had a 1.5 litre petrol engine. It had 62 brake horsepower, 4 cylinders, 8 valves and a cast iron head. This engine propelled the car from 0 to 60 in 13.5 seconds. Clearly, by today's standards, that's quite modest, but at the time, it was something to boast about. Have a look at what the brochure said. Now, where's it gone? 0 to 60 in 13.5 seconds. That's the language the 1500 speaks. Acceleration in the true sense of the word. Yeah. However, if this immense power was too much, there was a less terrifying alternative. The 1250cc petrol engine only produced 52 brake horsepower and it took 16.8 seconds to propel the car to 60. That is really slow. Still, quicker than this guy. Anyway, let's see what the brochure said about the engines. It said, but performance is pointless if an engine is noisy or inflexible. The Avenger engine is neither. 4 cylinders and 5 main bearings smooth it, good design silences it, and a Zenith Stromberg carburetor helps economize it. You just have to drive it. Furthermore, the Hillman Avenger, as standard, had 4-speed manual transmission with synchromesh on all the 4 gears. there was also an automatic gearbox available, but that could only be specified with the larger 1.5 litre petrol engine. I think that auto had 3 gears. The Hillman Avenger also had rack and pinion steering. What else? 9.5-inch disc brakes at the front, self-adjusting drum brakes at the rear, 13-inch wheels and a 41-litre fuel tank. Oh, and as you'd expect, it was rear-wheel drive. Okay, let's see a few more pictures of my family's car. It's seen here on the Welsh coast. Specifically, this is Aberystwyth, which, even today, is a very nice place. Now we see it unsuccessfully hiding from sheep, again in Wales. Oh, by the way, this picture from the start of the video shows the Hillman Avenger next to the vehicle it was bought to replace. That was a Ford Anglia. Next, here's the Avenger many years later in colour. And finally, this is me, age 2, taking the car for a quick test drive. I was also practicing my parallel parking. Anyway, the Hillman Avenger served the family well for 11 years, but by then it was starting to show its age. Whereas it wasn't completely knackered, it was rusty and certainly towards the end of its life. So, sadly, in 1981 it was traded in for a new car. The trade-in value was £260. This Datsun Sunny Estate was its replacement, and I've made a separate video all about it. This car got crushed by a tree, and vandalised, and crashed into. It's all explained in the video, and there's a link in the description of this video that takes you straight to it. Finally, note that in this video we've only discussed the Hillman Avenger as it was when it first launched in 1970. Different versions followed later on. For example, there were estate and 2-door variants. Furthermore, there was a new entry-level fleet trim that was so basic the blower only had a single speed. That was ideal if you found the 2-speed blower a bit too fancy. And there you are. That's the Hillman Avenger. Now, before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content, ask any questions in the comment section, and do me a favour and click like on this video. Right, that's all for now. How do I stop this brochure smelling musty?